Welcome back to another episode of the HopCast.
Thanks for joining us once again, everybody.
I'm Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
Back again from New York this time.
Very familiar face here. We have back once again Charlie Drews, good friend of ours, who has recently departed the good city of Chicago and moved on to New York City. But
he's
back here.
And we're drinking beer.
So. We flew him in on the
HopCast jet.
Yeah.
The boat takes too long in New York. I don't know.
Oddly enough, all they had was Bud Light on the jet. It's really weird.
The fucking jet's expensive. Blew all our money on the jet.
But your reward for coming on the jet is we're going to do some barrel-aged beers here today. And,
awesome.
Some good ones. Some real good ones. I know I've had the Firestone Walker 15th anniversary before. We've also had the Blackout Stout before and loved it.
Right.
And if you put it in a bourbon barrel, it could only get better, right?
I love the Blackout Stout. I think it's one of my favorite stouts.
It becomes the Blackout Immediately Stout.
I think this is last year's Blackout Stout. I think this year's is getting released. It just did, or is about to. So.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we start with more of the traditional straight ahead bourbon barrel aged stout.
Because this is a blended.
Yes, and we'll get to this later. This is a blend of a number of different beers, different styles of beers. So it's a little different than what you normally expect from a barrel aged stout, because it's not really one.
It's only a little bit of stout.
A little bit of
and
stout.
Other stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, let's start with the Great Lakes. We'll see how it's tasting, how it aged a year on it, and
and what the barrel did to it.
For me.
Well, as you would expect from a beer called Blackout Stout, it's black.
Mighty Black. This beer comes in at 9%.
I thought it would be a lot darker.
We were noticing, I guess in this day of age of barrel aging stouts, you kind of assume everything's aged in a bourbon barrel. This is just simply aged in an oak barrel. So no spirit involved at all. It's just straight up oak. And
You smell like the resin and a little bit of the vanilla that you get from oak, but not necessarily the sweetness and the booziness that you
see. That's what I
bourbon oak.
Just learned from this beer, which is actually pretty cool. Is that I always thought the vanilla character came from the actual bourbon itself.
I think it's from the wood.
Yeah, but you get a ton of the vanilla character in this right now, so that must be an oak characteristic. We do have an unbarrel aged Blackout Stout to compare it
from the recent release. So we got a little age. This one is gonna have no age. We can kind of see what it added to it.
Yeah, my nose has adjusted to it a little bit.
There's a lot more carbonation in this than versus the barrel.
Get a lot of alcohol in the nose.
Originally,
a little.
I got that, and I'm not getting it so much anymore. If I take a real hearty sniff, there's a lot of fusel alcohol burn to it.
Oh.
So
we'll try.
Yeah.
You should. Cheers.
Yeah, that's nice. Very rounded, a lot of vanilla character, even in the flavor.
Aftertaste is just vanilla bean.
It's just smooth. It's like
very smooth.
This is you've had a drink and you're happy. There's nothing to be upset about. It's like you're drinking something.
Not like a super heavy mouthfeel or anything. It's a fairly light drinker for a barrel-aged imperial stout, as far as those are concerned.
It's interesting that when you smell it, you smell the alcohol, but no burn when you drink it.
Right.
The other thing that strikes me is the very first flavor I detect is bananas, which reminds me of Jack Daniels, which to me tastes just like bananas. I know you agree with that.
Yes.
The very first thing I detect is just Jack Daniels bananas.
Yeah,
and then I get a little bit of the roastiness.
But it's almost creating kind of a bananas Foster type of thing. Although the caramel notes.
For sure.
Just from the dark roasted malts.
And the vanilla. And this is a good dessert beer.
So here's the non-barrel aged version. And you get a lot more oatmeal and a little more toast.
You can smell. It smells like oatmeal.
Yeah. It has a lot more mouthfeel than the barrel-aged version. Also fantastic.
Roast jumps out a little bit more so than on the barrel-aged version, which you would expect.
I feel bad saying this as someone who really likes things that were aged in wood. I kind of like the non-barrel aged better.
Yeah.
I like that oatmeal flavor, which is just obscured by the oak. You don't get it with this one.
Yeah, I think
I like that better. Not to say that this isn't good. It's fantastic, but
I'm straddling. They're both fantastic beers. This is probably one of my favorites that comes out of Great Lakes Brewery.
Yeah.
Blackout Stout is always just fantastic. The carbonation level is even different. You're going to have a little bit higher carbonation in the unbarreled as opposed to the barrel age version.
that's normal, right?
yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't be.
Really? It's been.
But that stuff always gets a little flatter in the barrel.
Well, it's not carbonated when it's in the barrel. You would take it out of the barrel and put it in a tank and then carbonate it from there.
I did not know.
So, but yeah, if you were putting carbonated beverages into a barrel, they would definitely lose their carbonation. But that's not how it works.
Okay.
And we've been down in the Great Lakes Brewery there, and we've seen all the barrels stacked up. It's pretty small for releasing a barrel-aged beer. There's not a lot of
Yeah, I don't think their barrel aging program is very big at all.
And this is only available at the brewery the weekend of, and then carry on throughout until it sells out. Which I'm sure now it sells out.
Did you get it, or did someone send it?
Traded it.
Cloud sent it.
Yeah, Cloud sent it.
Shut up! Give me some new Adidas gear.
Or a Windows Phone.
But yeah, I mean, these, you really can't go bad with either one. I mean, these are both fantastic beers, so.
It's nice to see that, see the comparison of the two, because it is the exact same beer. You can get the flavors, and it's not like, we bought all this, then we brewed another one and put it in barrels. It's like we brewed a lot of this and put the rest in barrels.
Yeah.
It was nice to see, a little education on, barrel aging without any spirit involved.
Yeah.
As well, which is kind of cool. Usually, brandy and bourbon, obviously, rye, whatever. This is pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting to know that the majority of the flavor that comes from barrel aging comes from the wood itself, and not just from the booze.
Right.
So it's cool to see how important the wood is.
Wood is good. All right. Well, cheers, and we're gonna move on to the 15th anniversary.
Well, there's still a lot of stout to drink in those bottles, and in this bottle we haven't even opened yet.
Yeah, we should probably do that. So let's open this.
Hang in there, buddy.
Take a nap.
This comes in a fancy little box.
Right.
Firestone Walker 15th anniversary beer.
Do all their previously released, their barley wine came in a box too? Do they usually put boxes? Or is that something they've started?
The Abacus?
Yeah, the Abacus, yeah. That was in a box.
It was?
Box. Yeah.
I bought it from the brewery and it didn't have a box.
I thought when it was released here in Chicago, it had a little box.
Maybe.
With it.
I'm not sure.
Anyway.
I know that all the anniversary beers are in boxes.
Okay.
So the story behind this beer is that it is a blend, and they give you a nice
cheat sheet.
Nice long.
You could have made them think you memorized it, but now you showed them.
Well, no, this is part of the packaging, so you want to say.
He's very honest.
This comes in your little box, and so basically just gives you the rundown of the different beers that go into this blend of beer. So
rattle them off.
We have Helldorado, which is aged in bourbon barrels and brandy barrels, and it's a blonde barley wine. We have Sticky Monkey, which is an English barley wine, aged in bourbon and brandy barrels.
And we had that at the brewery.
You can go ahead and open it. Yeah.
And we had Sticky Monkey at the brewery when we were there, right?
I believe we did.
Okay.
We have Bravo, which is their Imperial Brown Ale, aged in bourbon and brandy barrels.
I read that one.
We have Double Barrel Ale, Double barrel ale regular is one of my favorite beers.
I think you drink that nonstop when you go out there.
Yes,
right?
I mean, if would that I could, I would drink it all the time. So this is a double strength, double barrel ale is a double strength English pale ale, aged 100% in retired Firestone Union barrels. So
that's the Union Jack, right?
Well, the idea behind these the double barrel ale is that they actually ferment a portion of that beer in barrels. So it's not
That's cool.
actually fermented in stainless steel like most beers these days.
Every other beer.
Yeah, it's fermented the old way. So you get a very cool barrel-like characteristic with that beer. Moving on, we have Goodfoot, which is their American barley wine aged in bourbon barrels.
It's pronounced good food.
Good food. We have Velvet Merkin, not to be confused with their Velvet Merlin. Velvet Merlin is their just kind of like everyday oatmeal stout. They take that stout and age it in bourbon barrels, and then it becomes Velvet Merkin.
That was at Fobab. Drink many of those.
Yes, and Merkin is a little hat for your vagine.
It's a pubic wig, is what it
is. Then we have Parabola. Everyone knows Parabola, the Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. And we have Double Jack, which is the only beer that isn't aged in a barrel. It's just their straight ahead, ridiculously awesome double IPA, aged in stainless steel.
We've got all of those things in one bottle.
Exactly. So this
is. You think the Double Jack's is used to like kind of
freshen it up?
Yeah.
Add some hop character.
It's like, as Brad said in last week's episode, it's like a little squeeze of lemon on the top, or you said that. One of you said that. A little squeeze of lemon and to finish a dish to brighten it up. I imagine that's what the Double Jack does. That hoppy, non-barrel aged beer, brighten the whole thing up, finish it off. There we go.
So it's not all booze.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so let's. I mean, enough talking. I love this beer. I know it already.
More than enough.
So
let's pour it out.
Let's.
All right. Definitely lighter than our Blackout Stout. It's not.
Yes.
Stout.
You can certainly see through it. Nice ruby-like character.
I was gonna say ruby on the edges. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, really nice color. Little bit of head on there, like almost none, just on the rim there.
It actually looks quite thin, and I mean this beer comes in at 12.5%, so it's still a big beer, but it does not look like one.
No.
Well, we got tiny glasses.
I bet it will have a very smooth and thin mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm. On the aroma, you're gonna get
bourbon.
Some bourbon and some of that hop character from the Double Jack for sure.
And more bourbon. It smells like bourbon.
Yeah.
It smells like hoppy bourbon.
Yeah, a lot of wood.
Yeah. Now you get the vanilla from the oak.
There's a nutty character involved as well.
A lot of harsh alcohol from the bourbon. And I say harsh, but I mean it's pleasant.
Bourbon
I don't mean
delicious,
unpleasant. So.
All right.
I think that hop and that wood
woody.
is nicely. It's like a forest kind of aroma in there.
Well, cheers.
Wow, yeah, that's a different beer from the Blackout Stout. Huh?
This is way more complicated. As expected.
Yeah, I mean, if you're mixing, 8 different beers, you're going to get, like, these weird different characteristics where there's, like, a slight bit of acid over here, you're going to get some vanilla over here, maltiness over here, hoppiness over here. I mean, and it sounds like it would be a mess, but everything kind of works. You know what I mean?
It does.
Well, we've sat in on some of those blending sessions when they did the Heartwood, and we've seen them with their fucking beakers, like measuring it out, like trying to find that right blend, and they're like,
that's the process of it. They take
some Erlenmeyer flasks.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't have any of those. It was all like
they measure by the milliliter,
yeah,
and then we'll do the math from there. So they measure out these small, tiny little blended versions, and even down to the exact barrel. Like every barrel is going to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So X barrel we liked. Y barrel was okay. T barrel was awful. Just dump it. Like that. They go through all that kind of that whole process. Z barrel. What is a Z barrel?
They're all the barrel.
But I know that, and if you read the little sheet that came along with this, you'll come to realize that Paso Robles, which is the town in which Firestone Walker brews all their beers, is pretty much right in the heart of wine country. So what Matt Brindleson, the brewmaster over there, who is a master at barrel aging beers, I mean, we've seen that year after year at Fobab. He brought in a bunch of wine people to do this blend with him because their palates are, and he'll go into it, but like the palates are looking for such different things than brewers are.
Yeah.
So he wanted that different aspect. So this is kind of, you're going to get something that's not really typical of what you're going to see out of a normal, just barrel-aged blended beer.
I think something blended like this would usually be pretty barrel and bourbon forward, but it seems to be a lot lighter and smoother. And
it is very light on the palate.
More complex than most blended beers.
I gotta say, so there's 8 beers in this. 8 beers blended in this. The cynical side of me says you probably could have blended 4 or 5 and gotten the same flavor. There's some of those beers have to be getting lost in the mix. But if he's enlisting all these wine people, and I mean maybe I'm wrong,
with the common yeast string that we know Firestone's using, so they're all in that same family. You could, I'm sure.
I don't know if it really needs to be 8, but it is delicious.
But you never know. I mean, I couldn't pick out every single beer that's in this, but you never know what that beer is contributing to this flavor profile.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
But I do feel that like the wine people have definitely made an impact on this because there's a nice amount of acidity.
Yeah.
And that's what you usually would expect out of a wine is acid.
And it goes through a lot of stuff, and then it finishes very clean. Like it's a little sugar and sweet at the end, but it's gone. Yeah.
Well, and that's why the acidity is important, because it is very sugary and very sweet, but it's not at all cloying because there's the acid present to balance it.
Right. So you've got all these different palates working together. Wine palate, beer palate, and they're kind of. I could see easily how it would become a mess and where it couldn't work, but they've been successful on this one for sure. This was one of my favorite beers of the year.
I feel like you get a little bit of the dried fruit that you'd expect from a lot of these aged beers. You get a little bit of fresh fruit flavor. And I don't know if that's from the Double Jack and the hops or from whatever, but I feel like you get the combination of dried fruit and fresh fruit. I feel like I taste green grapes. I know there's not any in here, but I feel like I get that flavor. And
tiny bit of roast character.
That combination of dried, aged, and fresh and very ripe, it really creates a very well balanced product.
I mean, it's a stunning beer. I know it's very limited, so not everyone's gonna be able to get their hands on it. But
yeah, I'm sure if you didn't get it, you probably can't get it now.
You guys are jerks.
Right, it came...
Or just come over to my cellar.
I think it was here and gone within a week or 2 at the most.
But, this is a perfect example of something that has so many things going on, but not too many, where everything's competing with one another. All the flavors are just kind of like handing off to one another.
And makes a unique beer.
They're playing well together.
With that.
So barrel aging and blending, and it's all really interesting. You get a different beer out of it. It's fun to see what happens.
Yeah, so cheers to Matt and the guys over at Firestone for this one, because I adore this beer. I think it's fantastic.
Maybe they should send us some more.
All right, well, cheers. Thanks for watching our barrel aged version.